I call on Government Order of the Day, number 1.
Human Rights Amendment Bill, interrupted debate on second reading.
Order. When this Human Rights Amendment Bill was last debated, Larissa Wall was speaking. She has 1 minute, 50 seconds remaining if she wishes to take it. Order. Could members please leave as quietly as possible? Alfred Naro.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise and it's a privilege and honour to take the final call in the second reading of the Human Rights Amendment Bill before the House. This bill obviously amends the Human Rights Act of 1993, has two particular areas of purpose. Number one is to enable the establishment of a full-time commissioner with responsibility for leadership and disability rights with Human Rights Commission. And secondly, to make changes to the role and the structure of the Commission to strengthen its performance. Mr. Speaker, people may not know that actually this was initiated in the 20th of October in 2010. The Minister at that time was the Minister, the Honourable Tariana Turia. And as the Minister for Disability, she announced the establishment of a full-time Disability Rights Commissioner within the Commission, and to formally establish this role would indeed need an amendment of the Act. This provided an opportunity to be able to review the structure of the Commission and to explore options for change in 3 key areas. One of them was in the composition of the Commissioners that were there in place and its status quo. Secondly, the governance arrangements, and thirdly, the functions and powers of the Commission itself. Mr. Speaker, there were 42 submissions that were made and 19 oral submissions that were submitted. And so I'd just like to take us through some of those submissions which I think are important, and also to give weight to the recommendations that have been made by the Justice and Electoral Select Committee in particular. Mr. Speaker, one of the areas was just in regards to one of the challenges of the improvements in consultation with the Commission and other government agencies. The Ministry had identified some improvements that could be made to the composition in regards to improving efficiency and elective effectiveness of the current composition of part-time commissioners, and the inflexibility resulting in the way that specialised commissioners' roles are provided for under the Act. And then lastly, sometimes there being an unclear and incomplete description of the functions of the Commissioner in the Act as it currently stands. Mr. Speaker, there are a number of things that I think are quite important in this Act, and especially for the disability community in particular. We know that New Zealand ratified the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability on the 25th of September 2008, and Article 33 of the Convention requires states to maintain, strengthen and designate or establish within the state party a framework including one or more independent mechanisms that are appropriate to promote, protect and monitor implementation of the present convention. And we believe that the review and these amendments will definitely go in a way to improving that. So a full-time commissioner position with the responsive for leadership in disability rights will be created within the Commission, and we think this is quite critical. The creation of these roles requires an amendment of the Act, as it currently only enables commissioners formalise leadership roles in 2 areas: race relations and equal employment opportunities. And the changes of these roles we think are going to be quite significant. The Act currently provides for full-time and part-time commissioners. This will be changed to permit a composition of full-time commissioners, and then also which is 3, and then also to have up to 5 part-time commissioners that will be part of that composition as well. While we are removing the statutory roles of Race Relations Commissioner and the Equal Employment Opportunities Commissioner, we are requiring commissioners to be appointed to lead the work in these areas. Mr. Speaker, I just want to quote from the departmental report in which we heard submissions, and again from the Human Rights Commissioner himself, and 22 of those submissions, they were in support indeed of having the establishment of a Disabilities Commissioner in particular, and the Human Rights Commissioner submits that it'd be quite critically important to addressing these issues for the disability community as well. Mr. Speaker, consultation with the Minister was also challenged. There was an issue in which it felt that it would breach the Paris Principles of Independence of the Human Rights Commission. And so this was an issue of concern. 13 submitters, in fact, opposed any reference to consultation with the Minister being included in this bill. And again, the Human Rights Commission actually submitted that this requirement for consultation with the Minister currently occurs at present. So in effect, it wasn't seen that there was a breach, in fact, in regards to the Paris Principles of Independence for the Human Rights Commissioners. Mr. Speaker, this bill will enable the Chief Commissioner to formally designate commissioners, and we think this area here will then allow it to establish areas of importance that may be relevant at that current context in time for our communities. And some of the submissions that were made out of the 42, there was reference to, for instance, in areas of rights of women, and potentially the EEO commissioner role could include those that looked at the rights that enabled and responsibilities for women under that as well. There was also another submission that talked about issues around the fairness and the act around the Treaty of Waitangi claims. There was another submission that was made. So, Mr. Speaker, we feel that the amended changes will allow for the Commissioner to be able to, with consultation in the strategic direction of the Commission, to be able to potentially appoint part-time commissioners to this role as well. There was some concern that were expressed around the rebranding and existing of the specialised commissioners by removing the titles of Race Relations Commissioner and the Equal Employment Commissioner may be perceived as lowering the profile of these particular areas of focus. We don't believe that the proposed changes will negatively impact on the Commissioner's leadership role in protecting and promoting these particular areas of importance as well. There will be identified commissioners leading the work in each area, and the Commissioner will be the face and the contact point in being able to negotiate these areas of importance as well. Mr. Speaker, the recommendations that have been made, we feel that adequately address the issues of the review, plus the concerns. And so we feel that as a select committee, our recommendations approved by the Minister are both appropriate, but also gives both the flexibility and the clarity for the Commissioner to conduct his roles of responsibility. So on behalf of the government, I also to commend this bill to the House in its second reading.
The question is that the amendments recommended by the Justice and Electoral Committee by majority be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Party vote called for. The clerk will conduct a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
32 opposed.
Green Party.
14 opposed.
New Zealand First.
12 votes in favour.
Maori Party.
2 opposed.
ACT New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 in favour.
Members, the ayes are 73 and the noes are 48. The motion is agreed to. The question is now that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Party vote called for. The clerk will conduct a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
32 opposed.
Green Party.
14 votes opposed.
New Zealand First.
12 votes in favour.
Maori Party.
2 opposed.
ACT New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 in favour.
Members, the ayes are 73 and the noes are 48. The motion is agreed to.
Human Rights Amendment Bill, second reading.
The bill is set down for committee stage next sitting day. I'll call on Government Order of the Day number 2.
Animal Welfare Amendment Bill.